Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from a throwaway account and says, 25 female, 26 male, boyfriend accidentally cheated whilst drunk. I've been struggling with this for a while now. My relationship was so perfect, but in the last year we've been struggling with intimacy issues, mainly due to my boyfriend taking antidepressants, which seems to completely have killed his libido. A couple of months ago he got drunk during his shift. He works in a pub, as customers were buying him drinks. He then stayed behind to drink more with a female co-worker, superior, during close, as he wanted to discuss how rude she was being to him/other staff. Apparently, this conversation then spiraled into them discussing personal trauma, which he has only ever discussed with me in the past. Something I feel was incredibly intimate due to it being so personal/him only ever discussing it with me and his therapist and only knowing this woman for a few weeks. We'd also had numerous discussions about him not drinking alone with other women, as that crossed my personal boundaries. And I even re-mentioned this the day before the cheating happened, as he was drinking with a male co-worker that time. Events then escalated and he went back to her place to apparently drink with more people, which were supposed to be there. Again, something I would never be okay with, as she is a complete stranger. To this day, I still have no idea who she is. However, when he got there, they were alone and he decided for some reason to drink even more. He tells me his choices were like badly impaired due to mixing alcohol with his medications, as the night is very hazy/this is very out of character. They then watch things on Netflix while drinking. He tells me he can't remember if he fell asleep/was awake, but apparently she went out of the room, then walked in naked sometime later, proceeding to give him oral and then have sex with him. Apparently at this stage he didn't say anything or even touch her, but stopped the sex when he realized it was wrong and immediately went home. He then called me an hour or so later and lied, saying it was just a kiss. She initiated. Then that same day, hours later, he called back and confessed everything. The truth? He said he lied as he knew it'd break me. I've been cheated on in all my past relationships. He still works at that pub, even though I asked him to leave, and he's only working there for fun, as it's helpful for his mental health. But that girl got moved to a different work location. I'm so lost at what to do. I feel like I deserve better, but I loved him/our relationship so much. I genuinely thought we'd be married one day. Now I can't even compliment him or say I love you back, as I'm so heartbroken, but have been trying to make things work. Can you give me advice on whether this was cheating and what to do? Boyfriend got drunk at work and went back to co-worker's place. She had sex with him, but he says his medication mixed with alcohol impaired his judgment, and he walked out once he realized what was happening. And I've already spotted the first comment on this one while scrolling down, which basically goes down two paths. Jazisa says, you can't accidentally cheat. There's no such thing. There's two scenarios here. One, he was basically unconscious from alcohol. In that case, the girl raped him. In this case, it's truly not his fault. Two, he cheated. Sure, being drunk impairs your decisions, but he made the decision to drink, and he didn't just slip and fall into her vagina. To be honest, the whole thing sounds pretty fishy to me, so I think scenario 2 is more likely, but I can't be sure. I don't know him. Maybe ask him which one it is of the two, because those really are the only options. Is he ready to call that girl a rapist? OP responds and says, I have asked, and he said he doesn't feel it was assault. Since they both drank together, he made the decision to go to hers, and he felt he could have stopped the sex acts at any time, and did at the end before leaving once he realized it was wrong. Something about the way he says it and how he initially lied to me also made me feel like it was more consensual than he wants me to believe. Since when I initially asked if he'd forgive me if I'd done the same thing, his original answer was definitely not, before he changed it to yes later. Tuesday says, no one cheats by accident. He chose to drink, he chose to go back to a girl's house, and he very much chose to have sex with her. Probably best for you to move on. Forgiving means not bringing it up again and not holding them to past mistakes. Forgiving is 100 times harder than just finding someone new. It's up to you whether you stay or not, but please hear me when I say this. If you stay, you have to let it go and give them a clean slate. Forgiving means just that, forgive and move on. It's harder than it sounds. UKN says alcohol doesn't make you cheat, it just removes some of the barriers. And there is cheating or not cheating, and this is cheating. OP responds and says, "You are right. He's just always been so adamant on being this super loyal guy and hating cheats, as he felt his ex cheated on him during their relationship, but never told him. So this completely blindsided me. I would never expected it in a million years." Suspicious Hamster says, "Well, it is sus that he emotionally cheated and lied about what happened. At the same time, you didn't mention how drunk his coworker was, so we are in a grey area of assault and consent here. He either cheated on you halfway through and regretted it, then made up a bunch of bullcrap, or he got assaulted, lied out of panic and doesn't know how to deal with it, in which case he should probably go to the police ASAP." Dev replies to that and says, "Exactly. I'd break up because he stayed at this girl's house when no one else was there, not because of the hookup itself. It's all the decisions he made leading up to the cheating that do it for me. He had so many chances to turn back and didn't." And OP responds again and says they were both very drunk. They were drinking together at the workplace after their shift. He also drank during shift. Then went to hers and drank even more. So it wasn't a situation where one person was sober and the other wasn't. He explained things as knowing he could stop them at any moment, but not stopping them until partway through the sex when he became conscious that what was happening was wrong. I did suggest it could be assault and to get the police involved, and he said there's no way he would be doing that. So then OP does come back in to update the post, which says, "First off, I want to thank everyone who gave me advice on my original post. It really helped me realize how naive I was being about everything. In short, I left him. The relationship already had so many issues before he slept with his supervisor, primarily with intimacy due to antidepressants removing his sex drive, at least towards me. But I also found out he had more severe issues with addiction, substance abuse, and mental health that I even knew about whilst we were together. Ultimately, it feels like I never really knew who he was, even though we had been together for years. I've now been completely blindsided by reality and the trust has completely vanished. However, I still wish him the best and hope he can be more truthful with his next partner. I finally feel happy. I'm not crying all the time and I can now sleep at night without worrying my partner is out cheating on me. To anyone who was in my situation, please leave. Your partner is meant to make you feel happy and secure, not constantly miserable." He also did confirm that things were sadly more consensual with the cheating than he was originally trying to make me believe once I finally left. He also expressed his deep unhappiness towards me ever finding a new partner, but made it clear that he'd be immediately looking for someone else himself. Now obviously I don't like to hear about relationships breaking up and stuff like that, but when they do happen in these stories, and we see it often, I do like it when people explain about how things change for them, like the fog lifting and recognizing that, they wasn't particularly happy in that relationship anyway. They didn't feel happy and secure. They just felt, constantly anxious and worried at night that your partner's out cheating on you, and that's no way to live, is it? But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from another throwaway account and says, 24 female, 30 male. How do I tell my boyfriend that his breath smells bad without hurting him? I love my boyfriend so much. He's the sweetest, most genuine man I've ever met. So extremely kind and accepting and always there for me when I need it most. I've noticed that he doesn't brush his teeth in the mornings, but does so at night before bed. He also does not brush his tongue when he brushes. He just brushes the teeth and then flosses. I brush my teeth both in the morning and at night to keep bad breath away, tongue brushing included. I learned my lesson the hard way when I was a bit younger. I had brushed my teeth but not my tongue and was talking to my sisters and they smelled my breath and made fun of me for how bad it still smelled. They mocked me and told me that I needed to brush my tongue too, so I went back and brushed my tongue and have been doing it since. They made fun of me for a long time after that and always called me stank breath and other mean names. If there was ever a bad smell somewhere, they would say it's probably insert my name's breath and proceed to laugh. This affected me quite a lot, and even though I brush my teeth and tongue twice a day now, I still live in fear of having bad breath, so I'm always chewing gum or have a breath mint in. I don't want to give my boyfriend that same fear or embarrass him. We talked about it slightly, but from his perspective, I want him to brush his tongue because it's healthy. This is true, but I'm more concerned about the bad breath. He told me if I start to floss then he will brush his tongue. I agreed and happy that he's willing to change. This is only part of my problem though. I don't know how to tell him that his breath smells bad and he should brush in the mornings too, as well as at night like he currently does. I'm not trying to be mean and shame him, but I find myself not wanting to kiss him in the morning when he gets out of bed and starts his day with morning breath. It is not a pleasant smell, and I want him to know without hurting or embarrassing him. Now, in the past, we've covered a lot of stories about talking to loved ones, about, body odor, cleaning fingernails, washing hair, all sorts that we've covered here. And usually it's always the same conclusion that we always come to, and is sitting down and having that heart-to-heart with them, coming from a place of concern and love, not attacking them, and working with them to attempt to come up with some kind of solution. When people have lived with a smell for a certain amount of time, they become, nose blind they call it or whatever? So he may not even realize he got bad breath. And it's also important to point out, bad breath can point to other health issues at the same time as well. It may not be just poor oral hygiene. So if you find yourself particularly concerned about it, it's good to get checked out at the same time. But like you said, he's the sweetest person. You don't want to hurt this person. You don't want to embarrass this person. It will, of course, be slightly embarrassing no matter which way you look at it, but come from a place of love, and I think you'll be alright. But UKN says 3 options. 1, keep leaving mints etc. around the place and ever so often throw one at him. 2, stop giving him affection, kissing etc. if he hasn't brushed his teeth. 3, actually sit down and talk to him. Tell him that his breath smells and it is off-putting. He should probably see a dentist, as well as regular brushing of teeth and gums and tongue, or with flossing and rinsing will keep your mouth clean and fresh. A lot of time consistently having bad breath is caused by a dental problem that he may not even know he has. Autumn Laughter says, this post made me realize of how blunt of a human being I am. My boyfriend usually brushes his teeth twice a day, but every once in a while he crawls into bed without brushing. I walk in the bedroom and just tell him he'd better be brushing his teeth before he sleeps. Lol. And that was pretty much it for the comments on that particular post. But OP did update this one and said, here's an update on my earlier post. So I took the blunt route that people were recommending, and it ultimately turned out well. I was really nervous about embarrassing him, but I sat him down and told him that he knows I love him to death and that I wasn't trying to hurt or embarrass him, but I needed to tell him this. I told him about my past embarrassing experiences with my bad breath and how I was shamed for it and had a fear of having bad breath now because of that. I explained that I was reluctant to tell him because I didn't want to cause the same fear in him, but it was something that was negatively affecting me. I explained to him that the fact that his breath is often off-putting and smells unsettling, and it makes me not want to be as affectionate with him, and he took it fine. He said he understood and hugged me, and said he was happy that I even brought it up. He said he appreciated my honesty and will start brushing in the mornings too. Asked if it was okay for him to ask me for breath checks to let him know if his efforts are working. If he doesn't, then he said we will figure it out, but overall, just happy and that I had the courage to communicate that with him. The fact that he was so sweet about it made me feel bad, and I started crying telling him that I hated that I had to tell him, but I loved him and wanted to be open and honest. He reassured me that it was completely fine. He went and brushed his teeth, came back and let me smell check it. It smelled way better. Then we watched some Rick and Morty together and had some great sex. Brucey bonus. All in all, I'd say it was a pretty good turnout. Thanks for your input on my last post. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? I think it ended pretty wholesomely and the way it should end, really. But have you ever had to approach your partner with maybe something embarrassing? How did you deal with the situation? How did you find it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Throwawaywifeged, who says, am I the a-hole for not acting impressed by my wife's accomplishment? My 28 male wife, 26 female, and I have been married for close to 7 years. We currently have 5 kids together, 6 male, 4 male, 3 female, and my wife gave birth to fraternal twins, son and daughter, a year and a half ago. My wife intended to graduate high school the year we got married, but life got in the way. My dad had given me an investor relations type of role at his company, so we were traveling a lot, and then after that our kids needed our attention. After our twins were born, my wife was bedridden for longer than we and even doctors were expecting. Since we had to hire extra hands to do the childcare tasks that involved mobility, my wife had some time on her hands. Her mother told her that a friend who proctors at a testing center said that they give GED tests basically every week. at least across the state of Idaho, and that she should dust off her general education knowledge. She started browsing her laptop and decided to enroll in a GED prep class online. It seemed she was better at self-paced learning than classroom learning because the stuff they were testing her on came way easier to her now than it did then, even though she's been away from structured classroom instruction for many years now. Even after she was back on her feet, she'd be studying for it after she dropped the older two off to their respective schools. I would see what she was studying and it looked pretty rudimentary, and I knew that getting a GED basically means nothing, and that she probably wouldn't be able to apply it to anything career-wise, or commit full-time to community college, where I doubt the job prospects for students are that great right now either. So my wife ended up taking the test, and the other day she bounded into the room and said, "Yes, I passed! I passed!" I knew she would since she was doing well on the practice tests, and GED consistently tests on the same rudimentary topics. I did not gripe at her, but merely nodded at her and went back to answering an important email from a client. My wife seemed to get upset, and I asked her what was wrong. She said I didn't seem that excited, and I said that it's great that she passed, but I've been telling her that it was easy and no big deal. But if she needed something to prove to herself, she knew the high school concepts. I guess the money was well spent. She got even more upset and said she worked very hard and this was the essential building blocks to being able to start a career. Am I the a-hole? My wife passed a GED test, but she wasn't exactly graduating from college and wouldn't be for at least 15 years. I just didn't see any immediate applicability to her test, but I'm glad she had something to challenge her while she was coming off being unable to fully care for the kids. Now, I don't know much about GEDs. I read on a quick Google that's the equivalent of an A-level in the UK. And I'll be straight up, it still doesn't mean much to me. I didn't do much after school. I went straight from school into a job, so I didn't get involved with that at all, really. But this is a very simple one to me, in that your wife, the person that you love, the person that you've had 5 children with, who's probably absolutely exhausted from birthing those 5 children too. I mean, it sounded like this all happened in quick succession. Has done something for herself, is extremely happy that she passed and came to you, her support, the person that she loves, and says, "I passed. I'm excited that I passed." And you just nodded instead of hyping it up because you got an important email. I mean, how effing important can this email be for you not for just to turn around for 10 seconds, 20 seconds to go, "Oh my God, I can't. That's absolutely amazing. Let's book a restaurant. Let's try and get some babysitters or something and let's go and celebrate that. Congratulations." And just hyping it up for your wife who's excited by this. And also you saying that it was easy and no big deal. And the last paragraph on this one really rubbed me the wrong way, where you just didn't see any immediate applicability to her test. And I'm glad she had something to challenge her while she was coming off being unable to fully care for the kids. But I'm sure now she's finished her GED, she can continue to just care for those children. And come on, bro. Holy moly, that one set me off. Let's check out some comments. Pilot Environment says you're the a-hole. You're a major a-hole. Your wife is trying to look after 5 children and find the time to get her GED. Why don't you let her go out of town for a week and see how hard it is to look after 5 small children? Would it have killed you to get up and hug her and tell her how proud you are of her? Maybe take her out to dinner one night to celebrate. Wow, hope this isn't indicative of the respect you give her the rest of the time. Because Pancake says you're the a-hole. Like there needs to be a level above this rating for this post. She feels accomplished because she did something that she put on hold for your lives together. Meanwhile, Daddy handed you a job and you reek of self-importance. Silas Rhodes says you're the a-hole and quotes, "I've been telling her that it was easy and no big deal," then goes on to say, she was excited about something she did and you said it was easy and no big deal. It doesn't matter whether you think it is easy or important. She is proud of it. Try being supportive instead of taking her down. Also, for God's sake, she has sacrificed a ton for the family. It sounds like she put her personal goals on hold and took a serious blow to her health for the sake of having your guys' children. Did she want to give up on her career? Why did you two choose to have babies right away instead of waiting for her to finish college? Now she has taken the first steps to start pursuing what she wants to do for herself, and you demean her. And quotes, "Life got in the way." And then says, "Your life got in her way." She didn't need to go traveling with you. She could have stayed and finished a degree back when she was 19. Look, if she freely chose to make those sacrifices, that is fine, but the least you can do is appreciate how far she has gone to support your relationship and not criticize her for trying to recover some of what she has lost. Ivy Lass says, "You're the a-hole. You have important emails from clients to answer, and your wife, having 5 young children under the age of 7, was finally able to get a GED and you sniff. It's obvious you see your wife as nothing more than an underling. Keep in mind, dude, you had to get your job from your daddy." And one more comment from Little Lion, who says, "You're the a-hole. Would it have killed you to show at least a little excitement for her? She gave up her life to grow, birth, and raise your children, and now she's finally done something for herself. That deserves more than just a nod at her. Geez, you sound insufferable." And quotes, "I knew that getting a GED basically means nothing, and that she probably wouldn't be able to apply it to anything career-wise or commit full-time to community college, where I doubt the job prospects for students are that great right now either." And it goes on to say, "You also clearly lack knowledge yourself. A GED means she can apply to college, which is a lot. It also means her overall job prospects are better because most retail establishments require at least a high school/GED diploma, which means she can get a job and get away from your sorry ass. Even if she can't commit to community college full-time right now, that doesn't mean she can't go part-time or take online classes. Depending on what field she may want to go into, job prospects can be good. Perhaps you need some education yourself." Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Whew. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, and time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. It's absolutely incredible. I know I say it every time, but I'm always blown away by it. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day.